Is Tuesday, September 29th, September 9th. I'm T. Waldron. This is my cat, Pumpkin. Hi, Pumpkin. Thanks for joining us. She's purring very loudly for you. She's happy to be here. Today, we're going to continue our talk about change. We had spoken last week about assessing where we are in our development, in our journey, and now we're talking about change. Assessing what we need to change and then figuring out how to do it. So before we get into that, I do want to thank our moderator, Imran Hossain. He is a YouTube SEO specialist and he's doing a great job moderating on these lives every day. So thank you for that. Good morning, Kevin. Nice to see you. We're going to start with the breathing, and we'll do that now because I feel like I'm kind of ramped up. I've been working on a project all night. I have a presentation to do today, and then I was practicing it, and it was really boring, so I totally redid it last night. So I'm kind of amped up, but it's really good now, so I'm happy with it. But did you ever do that? Did you ever work on something and then realize it's terrible and then have to redo it? Oh well, probably just me, but anyway, it's all good. So let's close our eyes for a minute. We're gonna close our eyes, and if you're not driving or operating heavy machinery, and you're gonna inhale through your nose and hold it, and exhale through your mouth. We're slowing our breath down. Hold it out and inhale and hold it and exhale and hold it out and inhale, hold it. Try to exhale longer than your inhale now. Exhale. Really push that air out. And inhale. Good. And we'll do one more. I'll get to the chat in a minute. We'll do one more after this one together. Okay. And then we'll keep breathing, obviously. And then exhale. One more together, all the way in. Get that breath to all the different parts of your body. Let that healing oxygen get all over there. And then you're going to exhale. Exhale tension, exhale stress. Let it all go. And you can envision that. It really does help. So good morning, everybody. Hi, CCC. Hi, Luckman, Yosef. Welcome back. Memo, thank you. So we're talking, if you're new, welcome. It seems like there's some new handles out there. We're talking about how to be our best selves because I'm on that path right now. Good morning, Art. Good to see you. So we talked last week about assessing where we are, because if you don't know where you are on your process, then you don't know where you have to go. So this week we're talking about change. And I happened to be Googling images last night for this project I was doing. And on that homepage, which you have Google or whatever, this article came up, and it was perfect because I'm studying metaphysics in my degree, and I saw a picture of the scientist, right? And I said, oh, I think that's Richard Feynman. And I felt really good because I knew who the heck it was. Oh, good morning, Jeff. Good to see you. Pumpkin, they say hello to you. Yes, they said hi. But it was Richard Feynman. He's a famous physicist. So I said, let me see what, I take that kind of stuff as a sign, because sometimes stuff is put in your life and then it's kind of intuition, you kind of check it out, right? So this was an article called Mental Models, How to Train Your Brain to Think in New Ways. So we were talking this week about change, and this guy was really a genius. Richard Feynman, he was a famous physicist. He did undergrad at MIT and his PhD at Princeton. So, and he just had the the reputation. He would just walk into the lab. If these brilliant PhD candidates were having trouble with a problem, he would just look at it and say, oh, did you try this? And he would solve these really difficult problems that everybody else was struggling with. So he had that reputation of being a problem solver. Good morning. I'm not sure what you're saying in Cyrillic, but welcome. Okay, so his high school, the reason he said he looked at things from a different mental model. The people in these doctorate courses were all going from the typical way they were taught to solve these issues, these problems. But his high school teacher, he was always kind of bored in high school math. So his teacher handed him this book while he was in high school called Advanced Calculus by Woods. And he said, don't say another word until you read this whole book and explain it to me. So he took it upon himself to study this and learn different ways of doing things from this calculus book that was super advanced. And that's how he started applying these different models to these problems that no one else thought of. So that's how it bears to our conversation on how we're going to change. Are we going to change using the same things we've been doing? Because hello, hi. I used to, I used to say, oh, tomorrow's a new day. I'll start tomorrow, or I'll start Monday, or, have all these sort of ways of thinking I was going to change. You want to jump? Go ahead. But then either they would last for a day or two or not very long and fall through. So, you have to figure out what's working with the way that you are. If you decide to change, how are you doing it? What's your method? And is it effective? Is it working for you? So, we had been talking about that. Yeah, it depends on the situation. Absolutely. And changes are usually hard because they're unknown. If we're doing the known thing every day, and this is a very, we get up, we go to work, we do our thing, whatever, go to school, whatever we have to do, it's very easy to get into that rut or that rhythm, but also it can be kind of a rut. And if we're not doing everything that we want to do, if we want to change something, then we have to figure out a way to shake it up, right? Bye-bye. Bruce is loose. Yeah, that's so true, Bruce. Insanity is going through the same thing over and over and expecting different results. Absolutely. Yeah. I think Einstein said that or something, but yeah, or no, he said something like, we can't approach a problem with the same mind that built the problem or something like that. But same type of idea, Bruce. Yeah. Yeah. Jeff agrees. So that's why I'm open to hear. What do you guys, when you want to change something? I mean, what I try to do is, go ahead. I try to assess one thing at a time to change and then keep it in place for 20, 21 days and then assess how it's going. Is this sustainable or do I have to change something else? I'll give you an example. So last week, again, was it last week? Yeah, it was already almost 2 weeks now. I was away on this meditation retreat. Yeah, Russian. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what that means. But, and I said, you know what, this meditation is really actually very good because it's helping me get to a different place in my mental fitness. Like I got to a certain plateau and, stuff wasn't really changing. And now I'm, really implementing this meditation, and there's scientific reasons why to do this really advanced meditation stuff. But I had to change my life. I have to get up an extra hour to 2 hours earlier every single day to do it, because that's the best time to do it for me. And then I had to add a nap in because I'm not going to bed at like 8 o'clock at night. So, it's taken some adjustment. So I'm in the process of figuring out what's going to work for me and what's going to be sustainable. And, I didn't miss any days yet, but a couple days I cut it short because I didn't really have the time I wanted. But I'm working it into my schedule and figuring out what works. And that's a pretty major one. Yeah, there's things I wish I was different, but I don't know how to change. Well, you know what, Jeff, that's a great question. So, and Kevin, change has plateaus. Absolutely. Okay. So, so when you want to change something, it's really actually good to say, okay, let's say it's a major life thing, let's say it's something like, I don't know, what is it? Can you give us an example of what you might want to change that you think is too big? But you can break it into little steps. So let's say you wanted to start going to the gym. Let's just say that, okay? Number one, you would probably have to decide what time of day. Oh, it is major. Okay, so can you break it into steps? And chances are you just have to get a little creative with it, maybe. If it was something like going to the gym, you could say, okay, when am I get when? Yeah, and I think you said you have a child you're taking care of, so that's got to be factored in too, child care and all that. So, what's a good time? Can I work it in? Maybe you can't get to the gym. Maybe you have to, go for a walk at your lunch break. So you have to sort of take a look at the situation and see how it's going to fit into your life. Yeah, which it would change, but don't know how. Well, oh, you said life partner. So here's the thing. I'm glad you brought that up, because we can change ourselves, but we can't change other people. So I'm not sure what you mean by that, but um, it's really like, I used to think, oh, I'll help my ex, be his best self too. But that wasn't he wasn't interested in that. He felt he was fine, and that was on me. That was my fault, for thinking that I had a right to do that. That was totally off. But um, live and learn. But so basically, we can only control ourselves. So it's got to be something within your life, within your interests, and you can set boundaries, and you could say, I'm not going to allow this person to do this or this to me if they're mistreating you. I don't know what the situation is, but you can definitely have healthy relationships, but you can't, again, control you can't say, I'm going to go for a walk with my best friend every day. That you're not in control of that, right? Yeah. Yeah, sometimes, yeah, you can feel stuck. It's, yeah, it's a thing. And try having a conversation maybe, or I don't know. I mean, I'm obviously not the best person to talk about how to work out things, because I just ended up, I wasn't able to work it out. So, but maybe a marriage counselor or something, or a counselor. So that might be good. Yeah. Oh, you did go to therapy. Oh, it was no help on your part. Okay. Yeah. Insecurity and lack of confidence keeps people from doing what they have to do. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, that can, you know, uh, I have to say, sometimes we just go along and go along. And that's what I did. I went along for years. I went along and I said, well, maybe this will change. Maybe this will. And like someone said just previously in the chat, thinking that things are going to change, and not by doing the same thing over and over, it just doesn't work. So, sometimes you have to make those hard decisions. So it's really hard. So I wish you luck on that. And I wish I had a good answer. But let's see. Oh, what else? So yeah, I just wanted to share that with you, because when we come at something from the same angle all the time, we're not going to get different results. Yeah, I'm sure it is, Jeff, and I'm so sorry that you're having an issue with that. But I want to just go back to this mental model for a second. A mental model is an explanation of how something works. It is a concept, framework, or worldview that you carry around in your mind to help you interpret the world and understand the relationship between things. Mental models are deeply held beliefs about how the world works. For example, supply and demand is a mental model that helps you understand how the economy works. Game theory is a mental model to help you understand how relationships and trust work. Entropy is a mental model that helps you understand how disorder and decay work. Mental models guide your perception and behavior, and they are thinking tools that help you understand life, make decisions, and solve problems. Learning a new mental model gives you a way to see the world, like Richard Feynman learned a new math technique and used that as a mental model. Mental models aren't perfect but useful. There's no single mental model for all the answers in physics and engineering, for example. But when you know many different ones, you can apply them as needed, and you have a better chance. It's like a toolkit. If you learn different ways of seeing things and doing things, then you have more chances to fix it, or to deal with that. Yeah. Yeah, I've been dealing with the problem for 10 years now. We've been together so far for 20 years. Listen, I get it, Jeff. I was married 21 years and I had to end it. So I'm not saying that's your answer, but it's difficult. And if you have done everything you can, that's all you can do. So then you have to decide. And maybe there's more you can do. I don't really know the exact situation, but I'm really sorry you're having a hard time with it. Um, but I also know I got to a point where I got healthy, and I had to have healthy people around me. So, it's like someone who's giving up an addiction. If you give up, say drinking, and we've talked about this in the chat before, you have to have new friends. So it's like I have to be around people who are healthy. I mean, it's my choice. I can't stand being around people who aren't trying and healthy, and where this stuff is important to them. So that's just me, but everybody's got to make their own choices and decisions. Yeah, yeah. And like you said, you talk to a therapist, maybe talk to a different therapist, maybe get some different ideas, because or that same therapist, I don't know, but definitely, reach out to somebody who can get into the situation real deep with you, and help you decide. Because you know if you're not happy, you obviously need to change something, but I don't know what that is. So I wish you all the best, and I have to get to a Chamber of Commerce networking meeting, and this one actually, I have 4 gigs this week, and this meeting that I went to a few months ago got me 3 of the gigs out of the 4. So I'm gonna go see if I can make some more connections and drum up. Thank you so much, from myself to yourself. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Thank you, Pumpkin. You did a great job. Hi, Fractal. You did a great job too. All right. Take care, folks. Thank you. See you tomorrow.